on me and say, I didn't really want to do that.
Yeah.
You know, well, I gave you every option to get out, you know. So I don't want to hear that. I want girls to go into an issue knowing what the issue's about a little bit.
You know, I can't go. We're driving down the Surfers Paradise Esplanade right now. I can only think pedicab when I drive down here because
they
it's
roll
just
back
a
and forth through here all night.
route.
They roll back and forth through here all night. I mean, it's.
Do you remember any funny stories? While we're just going through, we're about to be up towards the top of Cab Lab.
Funny stories. They're too funny for me to tell you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anything that you.
Some are too funny for me to tell you.
I reckon.
Because I used to do it over in Key West, Florida, you know what I mean? And we do it for the big gay Mardi Gras there called Fantasy Fest. And, you know, many of the girls are topless just with body paint on. You know what I mean? Their whole bodies are just painted in a tiny little G-string. Like a little wicked weasel G-string.
Is that a good place to live?
Micro bikini. Oh, you know, it was great for working there in the 90s for myself, you know. I stepped straight in there as a 20-something and was making $1,500 to $2,000 a week US. When back here I was making $350 as a swim coach.
Wow, really?
You know what I mean?
Where was that?
Key West, Florida.
No, as a swim coach.
Oh, as a swim coach here. Oh, I coached in quite a few different places.
Cool. So you do. I know you've done triathlons. Have you done any of these ultra marathons? My mate just came back from WA. He just ran. Just the idea of running 42 kilometres must be so nuts for your feet. I just can't think of anything crazier.
Yeah, I've done lots of.
Yeah. Tell us what goes on in it. You know, you do triathlons, right?
If you've sufficiently trained for a long one like 42k, you don't really start to feel the pinch until about the 25 kilometre mark.
That's right. Yeah.
Because you're pacing yourself through to there, and then it starts to get a bit after halfway, moving through to the 3/4 mark. You can certainly feel the discomfort creeping into your body, and then you know the last 10 kilometres is more mental, I think, than physical, if the training is done.
What about rashes in your shoes and your feet? That would be a lifetime of shoes in one.
Yeah, well, you get that
day.
in a long event like that. If you get that one little blister or that one little piece of chafing, that can really bother you towards the end of an event. So the trick is to minimise any of that for sure.
And do you get out of the? You've done a triathlon, yeah, right? So you get out of the water and onto a bike. So is the running the first thing generally?
So it's a swim and then a bike and then a run.
Wow. And
I used to race as a second-tier professional. Back in the late 80s and early 90s. I trained down here with Brett Sutton from trysutto.com, who's probably the world's most experienced and accomplished coach. I actually shared an apartment with him, got to pick his brain every day and go to every session with him, and was his whipping boy, as people would say. And you know, you just get faster and faster and faster, and you learn to recover quicker, and it's all about recovery and training. And then on the weekends, Saturday morning after swim training, we'd jump in the van and we'd drive several hundred kilometres out to the next event, and we'd all pile out of the sponsored van, and everyone would go, from that local town would go, oh my God, look at these guys who just showed up from the Gold Coast, and we'd go in and try to gobble up all the money that was available and prizes that were available, and a couple of $100 in your pocket would help get you through to the next weekend and the next race. And yeah.
What do you think about this? Obviously, being fit is the greatest thing, the greatest feeling when you finish your fitness for the day. You feel magic. What do you think of this idea though, that it's almost a you would work yourself up for a triathlon and you get into the routine, okay, I've got a goal here and I'm working out every day for this triathlon, but once that's finished, you know, a lot of people get depressed because they've been working up to something for so long, and then they get depressed the next week, which is pretty big, like very big depression, because it's
well, I think that's the same with when any goals are achieved in life. You have a little bit of a post-goal depression, a post-event depression, just a minor one, a small one. So the whole thing is to set another goal in life, isn't it?
Yeah, but exactly, you are spot on. It's very important, and a lot of people in that sort of stuff, they think about the next goal before. Yeah. When they've done it a few times, like, whoa, I'm about to finish this. I need to actually need to have some sort of goal. Yes, you've got to set something for yourself. So that's why I think sport is so good, because there's always another event next weekend or next month. Yeah. And that's the whole thing. You need to have the next event lined up, ready to go. And what about fitness though? Like, because, like you said, you're driving in a car quite regularly just now, you know. So you've always been an active person. do you find yourself feeling a bit yucky?
Yeah,
Like,
I do a little bit right now, and that's why I have my swim bag in the boot of my car, so that I can pull up at the swimming centre or at the beach, and I can do a couple of K, have a shower, change back into my gear, and be back in the car.
And that's all you need.
And that's so important to me.
Yeah.
You know, just that 30 minutes of swimming.
Yeah.
Will give get those lungs pumping and get those arms searing a little bit.
That's right.
And
it's really important.
And just to keep that weight off as we get a little bit older too, and eating a little bit of crap food.
Just feeling the tightness. Like, you get addicted to feeling tight.
Yeah.
And once you start to get a bit floppy again, you're like, oh, I feel horrible.
Especially when you're a leg athlete, you feel that power in your walk and in your movement, and jumping and things, and that feels great. And when you're more of an arm athlete, just lifting things just feels so easy to move things around, and that's
your back strength. But I just want to talk about that because I've, like you know, I've just finished a couple of boxing events, and I did it just as a challenge. Like, I'm no pro boxer or anything, but I've always been a surfing fitnessy kind of guy, and you know, so I was always addicted to exercise anyway. I had to paddle every day. I'd actually count my stroke. Like, it's not so much surfing to me, it's jumping in the water and paddling 200 arm strokes in 2 ways, coming to work. But even more so now, it's like I've done something where I was really training every day for an hour. I'm talking it was 20 weeks of this, and now it's almost like a curse because I'm actually like, should be doing more. I'm feeling really soft here and there. It's the
endorphin release and the mental part of it. No, you've got to get back in the gym, bro.
Yeah, that's what's true.
You've got to pick a sport. If it's not going to be boxing, pick something else. And there's, but just get into that. CrossFit is brilliant because that'll get you ready for any sport.
Well, there's
CrossFit classes.
There's CrossFit.
They're going off everywhere. Just
everywhere. There's one opened up next to my office.
Well, there you go, mate. Just to do a month of that, you're not going to lose any fitness. You're only going to build it a little bit differently. You can go back to your boxing when you want.
But I was saying the thing about CrossFit. I was saying this to someone the other day. We've only got about 10 minutes before we wrap this up, but there's a CrossFit gym opened next door to me a year ago, and all these people who own the place and do the coaching for CrossFit, because it's a new idea. It's a really strength-based. You're going to time, so you're actually trying to beat people in the world is the idea.
Yes.
I've actually watched all these coaches turn into these little nuggety-shaped people. I think.
There's the endurance space there as well. It's not about being big, really. No,
but what I'm noticing everything's fad-based, right? So CrossFit is obviously a new fad. It's very cool. Fad. It's very, very cool, and it does great things for people. Makes a lot of people happy. I've noticed the actual people that have done it for almost a year now are turning into these little weightlifter shapes.
Yeah.
Really strange, but it's.
Well, that's what it'll do. I mean, you look at somebody who takes up triathlon, that swim, that bike, that run. They become thinner and sinewy, and they have muscle definition everywhere, but it's only small, lean muscle, and the body shape completely changes. Look at Dean Lucan, the Olympic gold medalist for weightlifting in '84 Olympics in Moscow. He was huge. He was a big fisherman working on the fishing trawlers, and training many hours a day as well. And he went and changed his training and his diet until he turned into this little fella. He's unrecognisable. And those little steps every day will change exactly who you are. You know what I mean? It'll change everything about you, totally how you look. And you look in the eyes of any elite athlete, and you know that something's going on. You know what I mean? They have this determination. They have these clear eyes and this face and this skin. And you look at them and you know that. You might not know what sport they're from, but you know that they're an athlete. You know that they got something good and positive in their life. And I encourage you to go and find the next thing that's going to work for Drew. You know what I mean? Now that you've stepped away from this, don't just let it go completely, because you've still got a bit of fitness in the tank there. Use it.
I'm thinking of joining the Tugan Surf Club, actually.
Brilliant. I'm thinking of maybe joining a surf club as well, because I love my ocean swimming and I can't run right now. But I will give you my friendly advice to you is if you want a fun sport that you're really going to enjoy getting out there, and it's going to excite you in a boy toy kind of way, I would say go to your local bike shop and give your credit card a workout. And because there's nothing nicer than on the sunrise shooting through the mountains, on a bike that's all silent, zooming at 60 k's an hour down a hill, just with the tick 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 tick. You know what I mean? And that workout for your lungs and your legs and your ass, and you can feel the strength through your thighs and everything, and just and this searing with your lungs and your heart pumping all the way. It's a really great feeling once you get into cycling, and I would say that's probably one of the most fun gym workouts you could ever have, and it's adventurous.
Yeah, and it's incredible what my mate, that Guy Newman, his name is, he turned to cycling. He was a motocross rider, and he turned to cycling. He does about 100 k's a day because I'm on Strava. He told me to get on this app. You know it back to front. If I can explain it to people who don't know Strava, it's GPS based. So you put your iPhone pretty much in your pocket, and you go for a ride, and you come back, and there's all these little gate sections all over the world. I've actually done it in Japan too, and it tells you, hey, you were dead last out of all the cyclists that have gone down this street. You go, what? I'm going for another ride.
You were 15th fastest or something. It's great. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So all the pros use it all around the world. You see Durian Ryder on YouTube uses it all the time.
Yeah.
So many people. An athlete that I'm coaching, Gary Wilmot, for Hearts across Australia, he uses it every day so that everybody can follow his training. And it keeps him motivated. There's another one out there called Map My Ride. You can get the apps from Google Play or from Apple iStore, and they're great to have to motivate you. But I think sometimes though we need to learn to turn the apps off.
Yeah.
And go out and just enjoy the fact that hey, we're moving out here in nature on a bicycle. I mean, and as far as I'm concerned, riding a bicycle is one of the most beautiful activities a human can do. I think it's art in motion, and and I just recommend that if you're looking for a sport, if you're a guy or a girl that are looking for a sport out there that you're going to have fun doing and you're going to enjoy, and it's the equipment side as well, which is quite expensive, but because of that fact, because you're buying this beautiful nice equipment, that kind of motivates you to get out there. Because it's like buying a beautiful set of golf clubs. Hey, I've got to go use them.
Right.
You've got that beautiful surfboard standing in front of you against the wall. I've got to take that thing for a workout. When you've got a carbon fibre or a titanium or beautifully steel handcrafted bicycle sitting in the corner, it just screams at you to get on me and let's ride.
Wow. I bought a Jeep. It's actually a lady's bike because I'm short, but it's a Merida Max.
Yep.
It's got these cool 5-spoke carbon fibre. And by the way, I'm no cycling guy. I've got one of those baby seats on in the middle, so I just bought a decent bike. But it turns out it's a really good one. But the funny story
They're fun.
was...
We all forget how much fun riding a bike is. Since the helmet laws come in Australia, adults have just left their bicycles in the garage. Adults have stopped riding them, and kids pretty much have stopped riding them too. To school, kids don't ride to school. The reason why you got traffic this morning is because every damn parent in Australia drives their kids to school. So you got a mad school rush that has now developed when it used to be bicycles everywhere in the mornings.
I had a girlfriend from Sydney, in the city. I kept telling her, she didn't believe me that I rode my bike to school. I rode my bike to school. No one does that. What do you mean? Of course I do. I can't stand that helmet rule. I cannot stand it.
Now, you believe this? In high school, I used to run the 10 miles to school.
Run the 10 miles.
I was like a little African.
Wow.
My name was Forrest. When Forrest Gump came out, it all made sense to everybody. I used to run the 10 miles to school.
I remember not having shoes, all from primary school.
And home.
In primary school,
over 30 in a day.
Up at Brisbane, 8 Mile Plains State School, we didn't have, no one wore shoes.
No.
We played football.
Yeah.
I remember going, we have to wear shoes in high school.
Yeah.
How fun is that?
Yeah.
Go Australia. Good on you, Australia.
Yeah.
Mate, we're finished. I'm really stoked I forced you into this car today because...
We'll do it again.
I reckon, man, in a month, and we haven't even touched on half of the things you do every day on the Gold Coast. And, it sounds like you've been around the world a million places, so it's pretty interesting for everyone. And I hope you enjoyed it. I want to thank you for coming in.
Cheers, Drew. It was really good. Let's do it again really soon, next week.
Yeah. All right.
One day next week.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah.
Excellent. That was fun. Yeah. I didn't even drink my hot chocolate. So
Me either. How did that sound? Oh, jeez. I just thought I recorded over the whole issue before. Hey, thanks for tuning in. And if you got this far in this podcast, I'm really surprised because it sounded pretty horrible to me. So my apologies to Markus Forest. Great guy who runs his show really tight. So we only put that thing together this morning. I thought I'd get away with it, so I really didn't.